Regulatory is a huge obstacle to innovation in the financial area. I don't need to tell all of you that. We've had a major breakthrough in the United States in the area of pensions and endowments, and in the UK in the area of endowments, as I mentioned, where a new charity law was passed to redefine what a satisfactory return is as not just a financial return, but a financial, social, and environmental return. We have to push through now some pension funds, in addition to the endowments to which we've already referred, to do what they did in the venture capital industry. When I was 27, but by the time I was raising my first fund, I guess I was about 32 or 33, there was a person called Tom Judge. He was in charge of the new area of venture capital at the AT&T Pension Fund. He was about 6'6" tall, a towering figure, with a very low-key manner, and a great sense of humor, by the way. I remember when he came to a hotel in London, and you had a hot water tap and a cold water tap, which was very inconvenient for anybody coming from the United States. He said to me, "I'm so glad your showers aren't that way." So Tom Judge, who you can see I remember with great affection, invested in venture capital funds, backed people like me who had zero track record. And when people asked Tom Judge, "Why did you invest in venture capital? Why did you back Ronald Cohen?" His answer was, "I have faith. I have faith that it's going to work." And what happened was, Tom Judge was actually a very good investor. And after a few years, 3 or 4 or 5 years, Tom Judge became the smart money. People said, "We follow the smart money." Every time Tom Judge invested, you had 5 or 6 or 7 investors behind him, saying, "We buy the analysis." He was very transparent. He shared his due diligence. We have to get some Tom Judges around in the pension field area in the United States. In our other countries, we may need regulation. It happens that in the UK, we feel we don't need a change in regulation to get pension funds to come in. And my experience of the UK in venture capital was the first pension funds to support us were the local authority pension funds. Manchester, Liverpool, Birmingham. Why? Because they're close to the problems. I remember going to an investment meeting, and when they approved the investment, somebody stood up, it was in Birmingham, and said, "Great, if we hadn't done this, we wouldn't have any big businesses to invest in the future." So let us focus on pension funds across our countries. The milestone, the necessary milestone, may be regulation in some countries. But if it is, let us focus the effort of our NABs in those countries with the help of the GSG and the other countries like the United States, which are leading the way, and let us cross that milestone. If regulation is a milestone, let us cross it. Once we've crossed it, we have to find thought leaders. Just as in the endowment world, Julia and Darren and others, the 17 who have grouped together in the President's Council. There are people like that in the pension fund world. We need to identify them. They're identifiable, they're not hidden. You talk around in the financial community and you'll find out who they are. We honored Tim McCready of Christian Super. That's an open door in comparison with a normal pension fund where if you walked in today, they would say to you, we have no asset allocation to impact investment. We don't know where to put it. Should it be in equities? Should it be in venture capital? We don't know where it is. Come back next year. But pension funds are crucially important. And while it's not pension funds, it's government who are going to get us to voluntary pensions with 90-10 investment vehicles as their destination, it is important that the focus on pension funds is brought to government and that government feels that pension funds are cooperative. The French, as our French colleagues will tell you, started with a voluntary scheme as early as 2000 or 2002 and just made it compulsory now. So we have to have allocations. Venture capital grew in terms of the size of a venture capital fund from $2.5 million in 1977, before the ERISA legislation was passed, which said that private sector pension funds can invest in venture capital, and if they don't, should explain why they decided not to invest. The fund size 2 years later, on average, was $30 million, more than a tenfold increase. That's what we expect to see from the change in regulation here. I'm looking at you, Tracy, but not just you. That's what we expect to happen. And if we're going to get to tipping point in 3 years, we have to cross that hurdle as soon as we can.